I was proudly in the chamber last week for our joint session of Congress with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. I think as Americans, as elected officials, when we have our number one ally in the Middle East and the only democracy, we should put our partisanship, put America and what our country stands for above partisanship. But clearly the Democrats didn't. Kamala Harris wasn't there. Patty Murray, who's the Democrat pro temp in the Senate, wasn't there. And 100 of my colleagues didn't show up. So I think it was disrespectful, un-American not to be there to support Israel, again, our number one ally, and who's at war with terrorists, that being Hamas in Gaza right now. And so, again, I proudly was there as a member of Congress for the 16th district, but also as an American to show support for Israel and what Netanyahu is doing to fight a barbaric terrorist organization in Hamas.
So I will say, and it's Stop Anti-Semitism's official position, that it is puzzling that Vice President Kamala Harris, who at that time was not the Democratic representative for the presidential 2024 ticket, however, she was and remains to be the Vice President of the United States, and as a role, she presides over the Senate. So when Israel's Prime Minister came to address the United States at a time when one of the greatest ally in the Middle East and a top 5 ally in the entire world has come to the United States when that country in particular is in an active state of war, and the presiding vice president over the Senate, Kamala Harris, chose to attend a sorority event instead. It is extremely puzzling and upsetting. We cannot speak for her and her campaign as to why she was not able to reschedule and adjust accordingly. But it was a huge slap in the face, not just for, again, the government of Israel, but the 7 million Jews in Israel, the hundreds of thousands of dual citizens in Israel, and then for Jewish Americans. Again, Israel's in a state of war. So put your differences aside. And we felt she should have been there. Again, professionally and personally, the Stop Anti-Semitism team, everyone that we talked to on the Hill and in Pennsylvania, we thought he was a shoo-in. He's young, he's articulate, whether some like to admit it or not. He is moderate, he speaks eloquently, and a lot of people were shocked when she did not speak to him. She did not pick him. However, it does speak to Kamala Harris's attempts to appease the radicals in the Democratic Party, who are not just screaming, what's happening in Gaza, because there is a war and it's horrifying what's happening. These radicals are screaming for the annihilation of Israel. And this speaks to going back to Rashida Tlaib's in Michigan and Ilhan Omar in Minnesota, their bases. And these radicals that elected these two, along with Cori Bush and AOC in New York, they are all gaining momentum. And if they are capturing the vice president's ear, that's what's so frightening to us. Again, can we speak for her and say why she didn't choose Josh Shapiro? No, we can't. I don't want to speculate.
The Republicans are charging anti-Semitism. That is ludicrous. I have to say that you have seen, I think, that the Republican Party has become a party of authoritarianism. It's become a party that seems to reject anybody that doesn't look like their two nominees. They talk about our nominee or the person who will be nominated at the Democratic Convention as someone who's other, and separating her identity. I mean, really, these people, they have no shame.